I love to work with flourishes and flowers. I love to make my own brushes, and I want to show you how to do it. It's very simple, and you can spend a lot of hours just playing around with the results that you'll get from these brushes. So let's get started. We want to start with a little ellipse, and we want it to be filled with black. No stroke at all. Now we're going to use this same ellipse several times over, so I'm going to make a couple of copies. There we go. We'll use those. So the first thing that we want to do is the long, slender blades of grass. So let's zoom in here and get started on that one. And that's going to take a pointed anchor point on each end, and I want this to be very slim and maybe just a little bit longer. So that's our first brush right there. Before I start saving these brushes, I like to just clean house a little bit and get rid of what's in there in case I want to save these, and then it's just tidier. Here we go, first one, and we want an art brush. We want this to stretch to fit the length of the stroke, so as you draw a stroke, you want it to go the whole way, and this is the direction I like to draw, so I'll leave it on that. I want to be able to add a tint to it, so we'll add that. And then all the rest of it's fine. First brush. Now the second one, it's going to start out the same. And we will flatten it. This one is super skinny. And we want this to be white. I'm looking for that hexadecimal number FFFFFF for white. And we're going to place this right over the center of that one. Oops, a little bit too long. Push it back in. And we want these two lined up in the center and lined up this way. So now brush number 2. Again, an art brush, and the same settings as before. Make sure that you put this where it will take the tint, and I like the directions, so there we go. Next we're going to do a couple of leaves, so we only want one point converted, and on this end I want to kind of round this out. It's going to sort of look like a heart before I get through, and I'm just holding my Alt key so I can convert a little bit. Now one more thing, I want to grab these two anchors right here in the center. Using my arrow keys, just back them up a little bit. There we go. There is leaf brush number 1. And it's an art brush. Click OK. I'm going to name this one Leaf this time. Leaf 1. And this time we want it to scale proportionately to how we drag our line. Must have tint, and I like that direction, so there we go. Brush number 2 is very similar to what we just did. We'll put a white stroke down the center of this and save it one more time. That way we'll just have options. And we want it to scale proportionately. That, dense, okay. I should have named it leaf number 2. Now we have what are the beginnings of our brushes. We've got our long blades of grass, we've got 2 different kinds, and our leaves, 2 different kinds. Now the other thing that we want is a flower, and I want to make 2. I want to use the star tool, and we'll make 1. We want it to be black, no stroke, and we'll use the pucker and bloat, and we'll make it, let's look at this, that looks good. We'll just leave it right there. Get my V key and release that. And for our next one, we'll make a star. I want to bump up the sides, get a couple more. This time we want to go to pucker and bloat, and we want to pucker. Preview it. There we go. Okay. I do want to make this smaller as well as this smaller. Now on this brush, we're just going to add it as a art brush, and making sure that we have this and scale proportionately. That way, however long we draw our line will determine how big the flower is. Put color in it by using the method of tint. There we go. And this one, the same thing. Now we have a variety of brushes. You can actually get rid of that. And an artboard. And we can begin constructing. We want our stroke to be up, not our fill. And we want green. They're all here. And I want to start with this blade, and I want it just a little bit bigger to go in the back, and we'll do let me look at my brush and see where it is. I actually want it to be a little smoother, so I'm going to put it on this towards the smooth side. Click OK. That way they'll smooth out a bit as I drag them. Maybe 1 or 2 more, just a little bit bigger as the base and the back. 1 more. Now we'll get this brush. We don't want it that big. We'll come back to about 4 and start here. And we can keep working our way back and forth between these and between the sizes, and just start to put some small ones in, maybe up in here and here. We can get these pretty thin by even going in like this and just having some, make some of those to go up in there. And we're just kind of making like a cluster or a gathering. Now let's go to our leaves, and these should always be set on 1 point regardless of what size you want them. Leave them on 1 because they're set to be proportional, so if you drag a small line they'll be small. If you want them a little bit bigger, they can be bigger. Let's get the one with a little bit of detail in it. Nice. And you can just keep adding these in. I'm not going too far right now. Maybe 1, 2 down here. Now, for our flower, we have this one. And of course we want that to be a flower kind of color. And the same as with the leaves, you can just draw them in. And these little guys are kind of fun. We'll put them on just a little light green color and just add them to the ends of some of this. Just kind of a little wisp. And they can go in and out of it. But you can get some pretty cool stuff going on with this. Now, we made some brushes previously. We can go to our brush library. In part 1 we made some brushes, and one thing that we made was a scatter brush. So we're going to get that brush, get maybe the purple on this one, and I want to turn this down pretty small to 5 and just run these up and through here. Just a little bit of scattering brushes. And there you have it. Some flourishes and some flowers, a very fancy bouquet. Certainly you could take your time and be more deliberate about it, but easy ways to entertain yourself for hours or to make stuff and actually even, have it be part of artistic work. Just go for it.